Welcome to Business Legal Lifecycle TV, the live TV show all about the legal aspects of your business to help educate you on complex legal terms in an easy to understand manner, to help understand why you need to do certain things in your business from a legal point of view, and to help you develop a plan for the future. Our mission at Business Legal Lifecycle is to help empower all small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Business Legal Lifecycle TV. Today is Wednesday, so it's one of our longer form shows and our interview show that we do once a month or so, where we interview someone. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing the founder of the Business Legal Lifecycle, the author of the book both in Australia and in the UK, Jeremy Stratton. Say hello to everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great start to 2019.
Absolutely, yes, 2019, halfway through January of 2019. So it's a good time to talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is maximising your business and bringing in investors. So it's mainly about a business that's already in existence and has worked its way through the phases of the life cycle and has come to this phase. So we're talking about maximising the business. So Jeremy, do you want to add anything to that before we kick into the questions?
No, I think we'll get into that with the questions and what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. All right, so maximising your business. Seems like a great thing to say, but what is maximising your business actually about, Jeremy?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And I think this is something that a lot of people can get confused about, and it's something that there's many ways to be right. So I know that lawyers have a negative reputation for doing this, but I'm going to start with defining maximising your business by defining what it's not about. and what it's not about is, you know, the old industrial era way of thinking, which is that you have your employees working non-stop for as many hours as you can so that you can maximize the hours of the work that they work, and therefore you maximize their productivity. That just doesn't work these days. And you know, in a factory, maybe that's the way to do it, but it just doesn't work in any other sort of business. And let's face it, most of the people who watch our show and listen to our stuff are not in that category. So, you know, what it is you know, maximizing the actual output that you can get. And it really depends on the type of business that you're in, the way that you operate your business and your team. So you need to have a think about those three things. And it's equally, there's no one measure to say that you've actually maximized your business. So you need to think about, you know, what it actually means to you, how you think you're going to maximize your business, what's the level of your team, what's the level of your revenue, what goals you want to reach that's actually maximizing your business. And the reason that we put that in here is that really it's about, well, what is it that you want? And really doing it before you start expanding the business. So I know it's a bit of a lawyer answer. Yeah, please feel free to send me an email or comment on the video if you want to get more, if you want more clarification. But really, it's about what you want and what your business needs as to what maximising your business is really all about.
All right. So flowing from that, then, with many ways to be right and all that. So there's lots of different types of businesses out there. So does maximising your business change depending on the type of business that you are operating?
Yeah, absolutely. And really it does depend on the type of your business that you're operating and really the purpose for your business. So when we talk about in phase 1 conception and phase 2 startup, we talk a lot about finding your purpose, making sure that you've got your purpose set of what you want to do in business. So you want to find out, you need to be really clear about the type of business you're in and the purpose for the business. And that will help you really work out what the maximizing the business means for you and your business. So as I said before, if you're operating a factory and you have space and capacity to bring on more employees, then maximizing your business may look very different to a professional service firm where you may just want to maximize your business by getting a few high-paying clients, paying really good fees. Or where you might want to employ more team members once you've got your systems and processes in place from phase 5, protecting intellectual property, to really maximize the business. So what I'd like you to do is, you know, as always, we've got a workbook and you'll find that by going to businesslegallifecycle.com.au/167 for 167th show. And you will, really, I want you to stop now and have a think about what type of business you're in, have a look at the workbook and what type of business you're in, And then what is your purpose? Write that down, restate that now. And then from there, what you'll be able to do is, you'll have your goals. You'll know where your light is that you're striving for in your business. And that may have changed from phase one conception. But I want you to think about that, and I want you to think about how that's changed, and then write down clearly what maximizing your business means to you. And then I'd like you to share it with us. Tweet me, at Jeremy Stretton on Twitter, or make a comment on our YouTube or page, or if you're getting this through the podcast, Lifecycle at jeremystretton.com. Email me and tell me what that actually means to you. And so then you need to think about the way that you operate the business. And here we're talking about the way that you operate your business, working on your business as opposed to in your business. And really this becomes important to the type of business that you want to get. Again, there is no right way of operating a business, but most entrepreneurs and startup business owners find themselves spending a lot of time and energy working in their business, and that's natural. We start off in our business and we want to do the best for our business. So maximizing your business at that point is very different to if you have a team of 10 or 20 people over the next 10 to 20 years. Maximizing your business may mean that you need to spend more time working on your business rather than in your business. The distinction here is small, but I can tell you, and Craig and I have been through this with our law firm, that the actual change is massive. It's a massive mindset shift that you need to make. And if you want to build and expand your business, then the way to operate your business means that you've got to spend more time working on your business. So if that's something that you want to do, then do it. And as I said, there's many ways to be right. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with running a business where you just operate the business and that's what you work in for the rest of your life. If that's what you want to do, that's fine, but be clear on your purpose and your mission and what you want to do. All too often, business owners and entrepreneurs get caught up in the romance of expanding your business. And I want you to sit down and think about whether that's right for you. So again, there's space in the workbook. Think about the advantages and disadvantages of expanding your business. Think about whether or not that's really the right thing to you, because if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. If you just don't do it for the sake of it, you can skip this step altogether if you need to, but think about whether or not it's actually right for you based on your goals and your purpose. So Craig, I know there's a lot there, but I think that's important that people get into and actually do the practicals of what we suggest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good answer. So we've spoken about what it is, and you've touched on why you might do it in terms of your purpose and those sorts of things. I guess the last question about maximizing your business, and the $1 million question is, well, how do you actually maximize your business?
Yeah, and this is again the old answer. There's many ways to be right. There are three main ones that we talk about. There's maximizing your revenue, there's maximizing your team, and there's culling clients or customers. So let's talk about maximizing revenue. So depending on your goal and your purpose, you might want to, maximizing your business might be maximizing your revenue. It might be getting the maximum amount of revenue out of your team that you currently have or yourself, and reaching your income goals as to what you actually want in your business. That's really simple. If you want to do that, then you need to think about, well, what do I do with my current team to actually get that revenue up to where I want it to be? The second one I said before was maximizing your team size. So if you've got a goal of earning $3 million a year, and you know that you need to hire 10 more staff to do that, then you need to be really clear on that goal. The last one is what I like to, what I like to refer to as, and what's been kind of immortalized as the Pareto principle, is your 80-20 principle. This is the fact that 80% of your revenue is probably coming from your top 20% of your clients. That's just the way it is. Many businesses have been analyzed over many years, and it's only the very small number of businesses that don't fall into this. So if you've got 20% of your customers providing 80% of your income, then maybe it's time to get rid of the other 80% of your clients and really focus in on those really core clients to make sure that you're getting the right number of clients. Now, as with everything, as I said before, there's many ways to be right, and there's also many ways to think about this from a combination point of view. So you might want to maximize your team to maximize your revenue. You might want to bring in or maximize the clients that you're working for, and then use that to maximize your team or maximize your revenue. So there's a combination of what you can do here. So again, look at the workbook. There's space in there to think about how do you actually maximize your revenue, and write down what the pros and cons are of each of these, and work out what for you is the best way to actually maximize the revenue in your business. Because Craig, as I said before, this is something that there's many ways to be right. Work through the workbook and make sure that you're doing what is right for you and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, as I said at the beginning of today's show, we're talking about maximizing your business, and we're also talking about investors. So we'll move on to that part of today's show. So our listeners and viewers can get a bit of an idea as to what we're talking about. What are the different types of investors that are out there that a business might be able to utilize?
Yep, great question. And I'll start out by saying there's probably four main types of investors. The first one are venture capitalists. Second one are angel investors. Third one is crowdsourcing. And the fourth is family and friends. We don't consider a bank to be an investor. They may treat themselves like one, but they're not an investor. So starting off with venture capitalists, these are businesses and where you've got a proven business model. And we're talking about here phase 6 of the life cycle, which is maximizing business and bringing investors. And we talk about venture capitalists here because this is really the time when venture capitalists might be interested in your business. You've proven your product, you've got your minimum viable product, you've protected your intellectual property, and if you're starting to bring in good income, venture capitalists might start to be interested in your business. So venture capitalists are usually third-party investors. They usually pool together money from either their own funds or third parties to bring together the funds and invest in your business. Now, a venture capitalist is usually going to want a pretty big say in what you do on a day-to-day basis and your goals in your business and your direction. So you need to be aware of that. If you're going to talk to a venture capitalist, I'd recommend making sure that you speak to them. Make sure you get advice from lawyers and accountants. Make sure that whatever they're bringing to the table is right for you. And if you go back and look at show 165, we go into a bit more detail in our education show for phase 6 about what they do. But venture capitalists are essentially an investor in your business that's going to want to have a say in your business. So make sure that you do your homework on that to get the right investor. The second one that I mentioned were angel investors. Now, angel investors don't usually come up in phase 6, but we do still talk about them. They usually come up in phases 1 and 2. And an angel investor is someone who's willing to invest a sum of money in your business to get it off the ground. And basically, what they usually do is just they step away and they don't interfere with the business. They just give you, a small sum of money to help you get off the ground and prove yourself as a minimum viable product. I have seen angel investors in this phase 6 though, where if they really believe in a product, they have too much else on, then they will do the angel investment now in phase 6 because they see the future potential of your business, and you can make a case that you might need a few $100,000 just to get the thing off the ground. So angel investors usually are that investor that comes in early on or even at this phase to just put a sum of money in to help you get off the ground, and they'll want some sort of stake in the business, of course, for their investment. They'll want a return. They're taking a massive risk on you, so you want to make sure that you're getting a fair return. Again, if you're talking to angel investors, then you really need to get the right advice from your lawyer, your accountant, and your other business advisors to make sure that you're not getting the wrong deal for you. The third type that I mentioned is crowdsourcing, and crowdsourcing, it's been becoming bigger and bigger in America and the UK, where we know that a lot of our viewers and listeners are from. In Australia, where we're from, it was only really allowed in the last couple of years. And crowdsourcing is where you go to a crowdsourcing platform and you ask for people to invest money in your business. Usually, it's on the basis that they're going to receive something. So usually they don't get an ownership in the business, but they might receive some sort of product. So if you're wanting to test a new product of some sort, then you might go to a crowdsourcing platform to get people to invest in the development of that product, and the agreement may be that they get that product for free at the end of the day. Sometimes they get an ownership stake in the business, however, that's usually not the case. The fourth source that I wanted to talk about is family and friends. And this is something that we're really passionate about, Craig and I, about borrowing money from family and friends. And the advice and the counsel that we give, whether it be the business owner or the investor, is to only do this if you really set the tone of what you need in the business. Don't do it if you're desperate. Don't do it if you're unsure about where you're going in your business. Only get investment from family and friends if you have a really clearly defined business plan that is proven. So once again, in this phase 6, where you've actually done the work that you need to do to prove the minimum viable product, you've got customers, that you can take it forward, and make sure that you get an agreement between the family and friends that is really watertight and is really clear on their roles and responsibilities. Because the last thing you want to do, and we did talk about this in show 165, the last thing you want is animosity between your family and friends because you've lost money, or they don't understand what's going on in the business, or they think they're going to have some level of involvement in your business that you don't think they should have. So, if you're going to do source funds from family and friends, really make sure that you're getting the right advice, you document it properly, and that you clearly understand what it is their role is and what your role is in the business and what your reporting roles are. So, Craig, they're the main 4 type of different investors.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll touch on family and friends, the importance of documentation in a later question, and it'll probably come up a few times actually in the questions I've got here. So, all right, so that's the different types of investors. Then the next question I had is, well, what do you need to consider when you're thinking about bringing in one of those investors? So some of the important considerations that you need to have, and I guess some of the ones that you need to be aware of that might be dangerous during this phase.
Yep, great question. So the important considerations during this phase, and again, we'll put this in the workbook for you to have a look at. And these are a lot of these are actually in my book, The Business Legal Lifecycle. If you've read that, or get a copy of that from Amazon. So what can I invest for my business that will maximize my returns first? So what can you do before you bring in an investor? What could you be doing right now that you haven't done yet to invest? So these are thinking about the things before you actually go to the investor. What can you do to get an investor? It can all be exciting and thinking about what you can do, but so what will happen when you bring in an investor? But what can you do before you bring in an investor? So do my existing systems and procedures allow me to scale my business without amplifying problems and issues? So we talk about that a lot in phase 5 about protecting your intellectual property. What systems and processes do you have in place that will allow you to scale when you get that injection of funds? That's really important. It's something that people don't think about, and they just dive straight in. Most investors, most sophisticated investors, are going to want to see what your systems and processes are, because that's what they're investing in. They're going to become a stakeholder in your company or in your structure. What are they getting? What intellectual property are there? And that's why we put phase 5. So go back and revisit that if you're not sure. Is there another market that my business can expand into? So if you're bringing in investors, is there another market? Is there another country? We've expanded our book and service offerings into the UK and looking at doing the US this year. How can you expand that into that market? What control over your business and company will I give up, and what's acceptable for me to give up? And make sure you understand what you're actually giving up. If you're giving up shares in the company, you're giving up rights. You're giving up your ability to vote. You're giving up rights to income and rights to do votes in the company. So be really clear about what you're doing and what you're prepared to give up. And then the next question flows from that. Am I happy to give up some of the income or control over my business in return for invested money? You really need to be clear about what that looks like, and make sure you get advice so you understand what it is. And also, how well do you know the investor? What are their business goals, and are they in alignment with your business goals and ideals? So make sure that you're in alignment, because the last thing you want is someone who comes into your business as an investor and then their goals and their ideas are different to yours. So make sure you have a frank, open discussion with what that is up front. Dangerous considerations, Craig, the second part of your question, is to think about that you don't need to do this and not actually giving it any serious thought. There's many ways to be right. You don't have to do any sort of expansion. However, if you do, then you need to think about what you're doing and what that looks like. So don't just automatically go, I don't need to do it, because you may have not have thought through exactly what needs to happen. The same with the next one, which is, I don't want to lose control of your business. Well, that's understandable. None of us want to lose control of your business. It's your baby. You've built it up, but you've got to think about what you're getting for that. Yeah, the next one, is kind of the opposite. Is of what I said. The first one is I should take this step because everyone tells me that I should do it. You should never do something just because people tell you should do it. You've got to make sure that it's right for you. And the last one is that you can't trust anyone else with your business. If you can't trust people with your business, then there's no point in being in business. So, Craig, they're the important and dangerous considerations for looking at investors.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Thank you for that. So the next question was about how you can actually use the investor in your business. So there's obviously the injection of cash. But what are some of the other things, including the cash or the funding in some way? How else can you use an investor in your business?
Yeah, so we don't want to scare people, and investors can be great if you get the right one. So there's three main ways other than injection of cash into your business. The first one is their involvement in the business. If you've got an investor who's got lots of experience running businesses or has lots of experience in your industry, they could be invaluable for you. They could be really invaluable so long as you properly define what that involvement is. So, their involvement in the business can be a really great way of utilizing an investor. The second one really is that experience. So if they've got lots of experience in your industry, then they can be invaluable. I know some great businesses, and I won't mention any names, but I've interviewed them on this podcast previously, that where they've brought in experienced people to invest in their company, experience in their industry, experience in business, and the company has just expanded, tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold. So if you get the right person, then it can really help you. And that comes down to the last point, and how you can use them is to document everything. So make sure that if you do bring one in and you do agree to where you're going, make sure that you document everything going forward in your business. If you can document, all of their roles and responsibilities and all of your roles and responsibilities, then that's going to really help you use an investor very well in your business.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the experience one is something that people may not think about, and they might have experience in different products, in different areas, bringing new clients, new referrals, those sorts of things. So there's definitely more things than just the injection of funds. So we've touched on it throughout your answers today. Can we give a summary of what you see are maybe two or three of the advantages of bringing in an investor?
Yeah, and these kind of do go in a bit with what I've talked about before, but I think they're important to reiterate because we don't want to give the impression that bringing in investors is a bad idea. The first one is the injection of funds. If you bring in an investor, normally they're going to inject some funds, and so you need to have a purpose of what those funds are for, and really understand and really be clear between yourself and the investor what that is going to be and what those funds are going to be used for. If you're bringing them in just to pay some bills because you haven't been able to pay them previously, it's probably not a good idea. Like if the company can't afford to pay its bills and you bring in an investor just to pay those bills later on, I think that's a bad idea. But if they're injecting funds to help develop a new product or to help you expand the business, then those are good things. I've touched on this a couple of times, the advice and experience. So if the investor's got good experience in your industry or just in business in general, then the advice and experience can be invaluable for the business. And the third one that a lot of people miss is the prestige. The right investor can bring a lot of prestige to your company. If you get a good venture capitalist that's well known in the industry or in many industries, or if you get the right type of investor, then that can really help your business and really take it from strength to strength, I should say. So prestige is the third one that I think is really an advantage that people often overlook. As I said, there's many ways to be right, and all these factors have to be put together. You didn't have to be comfortable with it, but they're the three main advantages that I see with bringing in investors.
Yeah, absolutely. So in life, there's always pros, and unfortunately, there's sometimes some cons. And in this situation, there are going to be some disadvantages that I'll get you to touch on. But I guess it's knowing about these sorts of things before you go into it, and recognizing that you are going to there are going to be some disadvantages, but I guess you weigh up the pros and cons and make a decision from there. So what do you see are probably the top two disadvantages of bringing in an investor?
Yeah, for sure. And as you say, Craig, there's always disadvantages. There's always, we've talked through quite a lot of them previously. But the two main ones that I see are loss of equity. So if you bring in an investor, usually they'll want some sort of percentage of your company, whether that's an income from an income point of view, whether that's from an equity, if you sold the business point of view. You need to be really clear about what you're actually losing to bring in that investor, because they're taking a risk on you. So you need to be sure that you're comfortable with that. And the other one is loss of control. This goes together with loss of equity. When you transfer equity, you lose an element of control on your business. So you need to be really clear about what loss of control you have, and that's where documenting everything really comes into play. So they're the two main disadvantages. As you say, Craig, with anything in life, there's advantages and disadvantages, and you need to really weigh up which one's the best one for you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's it for the questions I had. Obviously, we spoke about maximising business and now investing, bringing in investors. So it's a pretty important phase. You've touched on that it's not right for everyone, and it's not you must do this absolutely when you get to this stage. So is there anything else of importance that you wanted to share with everyone today?
Yeah, and I think it is to get advice, and I've said it a couple of times, but I'll just say it again. In business and in life, you shouldn't go through these things by yourself. And there are many consultants, whether they're coaches, lawyers, accountants, whoever, who are experienced in these things and can give you the right advice. So get advice. Make sure that you trust the advice. Make sure that you have your consultants talking together. You and I do talk about this a bit, and any of the long-term listeners to the show will know this. And any of the people who talk to us on a regular basis will know that we talk about this regularly. And really, you need to make sure that you're getting the right advice and that your advisors are talking together, because if they're not, then the advice that you're getting is not correct. So get advice, make sure your advisors talk together, make sure, it might cost you a little bit extra, but it will save you tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. So that's really what I wanted to get out at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important. All right. So thank you, Jeremy, for sharing all that excellent information with our listeners and viewers. So that was show 167. As Jeremy said, in answer to one of the questions, the second question about the workbook and where to get the workbook. Encourage everyone to get it and complete the tasks, as Jeremy said, along the way. And if you've got any questions, please let us know. So we'll be back again on Monday for Fast Fix Monday. Jeremy, do you have anything else you wanted to finish up with?
I just wanted to add that for any of the regular listeners, if you're looking for our monthly legal updater, it's January 2019 when we're recording this. And if you are listening to it in the future, December, January is the worst month for new laws. Nothing happens in Parliament for a long time. So we'll kick that back off in February because there's no point in doing a show when there's been virtually no changes in the last couple of months. So just for anyone who's looking out for that show, it's not we're not delaying it. It's just deliberately not doing it because there's no point in doing that show.
Yep, absolutely. So we're back in February with that. So yeah, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See you next.